Hello, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to review all of the books that I read in the first half of April. So once again, welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Laura, and I just wanted to say before I get started with this video how grateful I am for all of the responses to my last video. It means so much that people actually watch these videos, that people care about my content and what I have to say about books. So that was really kind of so many of you to give me a lot of feedback and tell me what kind of videos you want to see, what you enjoy watching, and just making me feel a little more secure that, people are watching, people care. Because, I've definitely felt a little insecure about the growth of my channel, and yeah, it's definitely a marathon, not a sprint, but it's still hard to put a lot of effort into something like this and not see much response. But I really feel so much better, and this is just for fun. So at the end of the day, that's all that really matters, is that I'm having fun doing it, which I am. So again, thank you so much. So as I'm filming this, it is April 20th, and I am just now getting around to filming this for the first half of April. So I'm gonna go over the books I read from the 1st through the 15th, the ones that I've finished anyways, because I am in the middle of a few books, but I'm gonna count those towards the next part of the month because, again, still working on them. So the first book that I finished in the month of April is 7 X's by Lucy Vine. This is a really cute romance. It is about a woman who reads in a magazine, like an old magazine article that she just finds at this bar she goes to, that's like, there are 7 people you fall in love with in your lifetime. They all have like cute, fun little identifiers. The first love, the work mistake, the overlap, the friend with benefits, the mischance, yada yada. And so she kind of, at the urging of her friends, decides she's gonna go back to all of the people, the 7 significant people she's dated, and revisit them and see if there's a spark and if she had the one that got away. It was super cute. I mean, the concept is a little dumb when you get down to it. It's a little silly, but I had a fun time reading it. There was really good dialogue. The banter was funny. And the main character, whose name is Esther, she had a really fun little friend group that was really funny, and I just liked the way they interacted with each other. I gave this 4 stars. I thought it was adorable. I mean, it's not anything super crazy a new favorite or anything, but I really did enjoy it. I thought it was a fun book, and it is kind of long. I think it's over 400 pages, which doesn't really need to happen. I could have done this book being called 5 X's instead of 7, and I think it still would have gotten the same point across, but it was still fun. I still enjoyed reading it. The next book I read was The Gay Best Friend by Nicholas DiDomizio. I think I said that right. I'm embarrassed if I didn't, but anyhow. This was so cute. This was 5 stars easily. This is the same author. He wrote Burn It All Down, which came out about 2 years ago. It was about this super Italian mom and son that live in, I think they lived in Jersey or something like that, and chaos, but it was a really fun, kooky story. This one is definitely less kooky, but it was so fun. This follows a man whose name I forgot because I read this more than yesterday. Yeah, so it follows this guy who had his best friend from his whole life is getting married to this woman that also kind of became, I gotta find out what this guy's name is so I can actually refer to him. Hold on. So Dominic has been best friends with this guy since they were little kids, and they came from very different backgrounds. Dominic was in a single parent household, and they just didn't have a lot of money. And his friend, again, whose name I can't remember, came from a really wealthy family and just lots to do. And so when he gets engaged, Dom becomes really, really good friends with the bride. And so she ends up being involved and invited to each of their bachelor and bachelorette parties. So he gets put in a weird spot because he is really close to both of them. And at the guy, I don't think, he's not super duper bro-y, but his friends are, they were in a fraternity and all of that. So you know, the wife is kind of nervous, I guess, about what they're gonna do for the bachelor party, and she tries to get Dom to like spy on them, and he's not really into that. Then bachelorette party, and there's just, it's a lot of like kind of secrets from each other, and who's telling the truth, and like, what are you expecting too much from this guy? And in the meantime, he also had just gone through a breakup, so it's hard to be around all the wedding talk. And I feel like I didn't really do a great job explaining this, but I knew that I was gonna love this going in, and I absolutely did. It was so good. I loved it. Loved it, loved it. This is probably gonna be one of my favorites of the year. I think it was even better than Burn It All Down, so if you read that and enjoyed it, you will love this so much. It's hilarious. Like, I don't know how a book can be so funny and also so emotional and sentimental at the same time, but this one, yeah. Nicholas D. Demizio, I don't think I said that the same way as I said it before, but whatever. He knocked it out of the park. It was so good. This next one was kind of a letdown. It might be an unpopular opinion, I don't know, and that is Happy Place by Emily Henry. I gave this 2 stars. I don't know if this is going to be as popular as most of her books, because I have only read Beach Read and Book Lovers, and I really liked them both. I liked Beach Read the most, but I think that's because that book isn't really a romance. It's like a women's fiction bordering on romance, like romantic elements. I don't know. But it was just not, this one was, it's about these two, I mean, I've talked about it before in other videos, but basic plot line is this group of friends goes on vacation every year to this lake house in Maine, and these 2 members of the group were together for a long time and they broke up, and this is like the last time they're going to be going to this beach house because the girl whose family owns it is selling it. So they want to make sure that, you know, they don't ruin everyone's good time, so they're just going to pretend they're still together even though they broke up 6 months earlier. I should have known that I wasn't going to like this just based on that little plot summary, because I hate just like miscommunication. Again, I mentioned before that I thought this might be fun because I do like fake dating trope, but this really wasn't that so much, since they actually did date in the past, and there was just so much miscommunication. And I mean that between the romantic leads, I mean that between the friend group. Like, there was just, nobody spoke to each other, and it found it so hard to believe that these people who have been friends for like 15 years could know each other so little. And just, I don't know, I was just so bored, and these people felt like they were so over dramatic because of the reasons that things didn't work out with this couple to begin with. I just, when we got to the reason for the breakup, I was just I was so irritated because it's such a dumb thing, and I don't know. We'll see what other people have to say, but this was definitely not the one for me. I think if you like Emily Henry, you might, I don't know, enjoy her books, but I don't know. I consider myself someone that likes her books, but this was just bad. The banter was on point, as always. So I guess you could just read it for that. That was the saving grace for me. But unfortunately, the rest of it was a dud. Another one that was kind of a letdown, less so than Happy Place, is Romantic Comedy by Curtis Sittenfeld. I was looking forward to this so much. When it was a Book of the Month pick for April, I was so excited because I knew I wanted to buy it, but I've been trying not to spend like $30 on a book too often. So I was super happy that this was one of the picks, and I actually read it immediately as soon as I got it. It reminded me a lot of the book Funny You Should Ask by Alyssa Sussman, I think is the author, that I read last year. It was not, I liked this one a little better. Basically, it's about like a regular woman who starts dating or having a relationship with a celebrity. And there was a lot of pandemic talk, which really doesn't bother me at all. But I don't know, it just didn't flow well for me. The first chapter is like over 100 pages, which was annoying because just make it into different sections. Like, the first chapter should have been called Part 1 instead of Chapter 1, and then divide it from there. It was just annoying because it was really hard to break it up, and like I kept losing my place if I would put it down for an hour or so. So yeah, that was annoying. It also just didn't feel like there was a ton of conflict. It was kind of like the second part is all like emails they wrote to each other during the pandemic. And I don't know, I just didn't feel like there was much to the story. It wasn't for me. I think some people will like it. If you liked that other book, Funny You Should Ask, you'll probably like this too, because they're really very, very similar. I thought this one was better written though. I gave it 3 stars. It's definitely not one I'll revisit. I've actually already gotten rid of it and sold it to someone on Pango. So yeah, it was just not for me. The next one I read was House of Cotton by Monica Brashears. What did I give this? I gave this 3 stars. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. It was just not what I thought it was going to be. It's about a woman who is 19. She's living on her own. She works in a gas station and she finds out she's pregnant. And one day this guy comes in and says like, I want you to be a model for me, and like gives her his business card. And of course she's like, what in the hell? No. But she gets desperate enough and she calls him and they start working together. And the job, I don't know if this is a spoiler. I'm going to say it's not because it happens so early in the book. But basically this man and his aunt have found this, I think it's his aunt. They have found this way to like do makeup to make your face look exactly like someone else's. So what they do is they run a funeral home and they start selling a service where they make up whoever the model, I guess, to be whoever look like whoever these people lost, and they can like FaceTime with them for like one last goodbye. Super weird. It was good. It was strange, as I've mentioned. It wasn't exactly what I thought it would be because, eventually, things just keep getting weirder and weirder with the requests this man is asking from the main character. And I don't know, there's also just like a weird amount of graphic sex for like literally no reason, I guess. I mean, it happens at several points. She just meets guys on a dating app and they have graphically descriptive sex, and then like that's the end of it. I just don't know why that's in there. It doesn't really add anything, but it is what it is. It's not like it's like offensive to me, but it just felt like can we keep going with the story? I don't know. Yeah, so this was definitely just kind of weird for me. Not a favorite. I did end up listening to the audiobook, which I don't know if I would have been able to get through it if I just had the physical copy, just because it was just kind of... I definitely know that if I had read the physical version, I would have been flipping ahead constantly to see how much I had left in like a chapter, or honestly just looking how many pages is this book again. Like I can tell when I start doing that it's just not it for me. So yeah, that was a miss, but I still give it 3 stars, so I must be remembering only the things I didn't like about it. I actually didn't write a review of this one, I don't believe, so I don't have any notes to go back and look, but yeah, so okay book. The next one I read is You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose. I did not like this at all. This was one that I got from Libro FM's influencer program, so I did listen to the audiobook. And the audiobook was fine, well done, but this was just not good. I thought this was going to be a thriller, but it really was just like a romance with suspenseful elements. It was not what I wanted it to be. It had a cool beginning where there was a woman who's from New York. She's like overworked and stressed and yada yada. And she goes to rent a cabin in Wyoming. And it's like this Airbnb. She's just like in this guy's house, which I know that happens on Airbnb all the time, but no, not for me. And just like some minor creepy things start to happen, but she ends up like really liking the guy that's the host. And so they get together and whatever. And it was just like, I kept waiting for something to make this into a thriller. The only thing is like, oh, this other woman that had come to stay at his Airbnb had like disappeared. But like, that is such a small plot point and nothing really gets into it until like the very, very end. This book was just not it. This was, I don't know. I've read one other book by Geneva Rose. I've read One of Us is Dead, and it was ridiculous, but I was entertained by it. This I don't even feel like I was that entertained by, because I think I would have DNF'd it if it didn't just, I kept waiting for the thrilling part to come, because it's a really cool setup, you know, like stuck in this Airbnb in Wyoming, rural Wyoming, with like no Wi-Fi, and just, you know, this man you don't know, and like, oh my gosh, this girl went missing, and it sounds really cool and creepy, but it wasn't. So that was a miss for me too, I guess. Next, I read Don't Forget the Girl by Rebecca McCanna. This was really interesting. So this really focused on how the media really almost glamorizes like murderers and serial killers, and nobody is as interested in who was murdered, and like they're the ones that should be getting the attention, and it ends up being people are fascinated by true crime. And I have, like, in the last year kind of become less and less interested in true crime, because I'm definitely finding more and more that I think it does really glamorize these crimes and these television shows and books and stuff. Like, it is interesting to learn about, but I do think it's kind of exploitative, and it is certainly not doing anything for the families of these victims to heal. I would think. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I just feel like it's a little distasteful the way some people are like rabidly into true crime. It just feels a little icky. So this really spoke to me in the sense that they are focusing on the girl that went missing. It follows these three girls who were friends since childhood, and they went to college together, but in their freshman year, one of them was murdered. They didn't ever find a body, though. They just assumed that, you know, whatever, missing, assumed dead, or whatever. And the guy that they are pretty sure did it is about to be executed for the murders of some other women. And so these two friends are really trying to get some answers before this happens. And there's a podcast that's doing a season on this murderer, and it kind of just reopens everything and brings it all back, and we do get answers eventually, so don't worry about that. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I loved the focus again on the girl who went missing, and less on the murderer. It was just a really interesting story. It took some cool turns that I definitely didn't see coming, and yeah, I thought it was really well done. The last one that I finished in the first half of April is You Can Trust Me by Wendy Hurd. This follows two girls named Summer and Leo. They're both kind of grifters. They like to scam rich men, and they live in a van, and they just go where the wind takes them, and that's how they make their living, is by like stealing from rich men or getting them to like buy them all kinds of stuff and then just piecing out. And it's, you know, I love books about scammers and like grifters, and I thought it was really fun and well done. This one takes a turn because one of Leo's marks ends up taking her to like his private island. He's like a techie billionaire, and then she like doesn't respond to Summer's messages, and like Summer doesn't know where she is or what happened or like anything. She's like being kept on this island. And so yeah, I thought it was really cool. It took a different turn than a lot of these like scammy type books, but it definitely got more into a thriller, mystery thriller than I thought it would be. Because I don't know, some books that are more about just like conning men, conning people, I guess, I wouldn't really consider thrillers, even though a lot of times they're marketed that way. Like Counterfeit that I read last year, and The Lies I Tell. I don't think either of those really would fall under thriller, but this one did. It was really interesting that Summer like had no identity, because her mom was a super like free-spirited hippie, and she was born in a van, and she doesn't have a birth certificate, and she doesn't even have a last name. She actually doesn't really know when her birthday is, because she never, again, had a birth certificate or anything. And that's really, it was wild to think about, like, that being the case for someone. And, like, I don't know. It was just unique. Really, really good. Pick that one up. It's not out yet, but I definitely recommend you reading it when it comes out if you like that kind of, like, scammer vibes. The two books that I had started prior to the 15th that I didn't finish yet, well, I did finish by now, but I hadn't finished by the 15th, were The Half of It by Juliette Fay and Rootless by Crystal Zara Appia. I will tell you more about those in my next video where I do the second half of the month, but neither is a new favorite, but neither were bad. So that's all I'll say for now. Those are the books I have read in the first half of April. I can't wait to report back with the rest of April because I have a few books already like in progress that I'm loving, and I'm hoping that I have lots of good things to say about them when that end of the month comes. But I want to just say thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked this, I would love it if you would subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!